Hi, so next 20 years of games in 3 minutes. Cool, no problem. My prediction for games for the next 20 years is that they will continue to change and shape culture for the better. Digital games are cultural assets of influence, and if you've seen me on any stage in the last year, you've heard me say that exact phrase and share this exact slide, and that's because games not only reflect culture, they create it. And I think over the next 20 years, we're going to see greater intentionality in harnessing the power of games in this way to change and shape culture for the better and change the zeitgeist, or the zeitgeist, if you will. I am Dr. Rachel Kowert. I am a research psychologist that specializes in the uses and effects of digital spaces.
We all know about bullying and cyberbullying, and I'm assuming that can also be very intense in the metaverse, right?
You're absolutely right. They can and probably will be more intense just because there's more sensory information. If somebody steps into your space, even though you know it's a virtual space, you kind of cringe just like you would in a face-to-face interaction. The psychological repercussions are very real. And I think the best step we can take now is having conversations like this and thinking about how we can design these spaces from the bottom up in a way that helps reduce the chance that these bad interactions are going to happen. I'm really excited to see how virtual reality is going to take shape in schools and in universities. Imagine being able to walk through ancient Rome instead of just reading about ancient Rome.
So then what do you think needs to be improved in the video game world to highlight its benefits?
When people can see themselves in games, when games reflect the beautiful diversity of the world, they make better games and in turn make more engaging, more fun spaces for us to just have a good time. So more of that, I would say.
Toxic gamer cultures are often a topic of discussion among parents and game players alike, and there seems to be this assumption that it is the core demographic. But what we're finding with this work is actually most people won't stand for it. They will avoid games completely based on their reputation. They will spend less money and less time in places where toxicity is rampant.
There's the element of escape, which is needed and necessary in those games for all teenagers.
Absolutely, and I think it is a cyclical moral panic, as we just heard. We saw it with television and with rock and roll and with comic books and now with video games. I can sit and binge watch The Witcher on Netflix, which I did recently, and it's not a problem. But if I spend, those 10 hours playing Fortnite, all of a sudden it's a problem. So I think it's just the way that we are approaching this newish technology. I mean, it's not actually quite new anymore, but it's the newest in a long line of, kind of scapegoats.
What are your thoughts on this when you saw that Fortnite never got that green light and finally just threw in the towel?
Yeah, I think they're selling this policy as child safety. And while this kind of policy might seem useful on the surface, it really doesn't reflect current theory and knowledge that we have about the prevention of problematic or disordered media use. The research clearly points to the need to consider the disordered use of any media as a maladaptive solution to something else. So underlying stress or underlying depression or anxiety. So taking a global ban approach, it's not really considering, the positives of games. We've heard over the last 2 years of the COVID pandemic how it's really been a boon for social connection, and it's just kind of ignoring all of that information.